I am so glad you are here. This is Chris. There's Tony. We're going to have some fun talking about all the things. I'm going to abbreviated version of our normal stuff. So there is fun stuff coming up. Please do attend all the things. There will be an art opening in mid-February on the 16th. That's a Sunday at 3. It's going to be amazing. You will get to see some of this original artwork up close and the stuff that we can see in front of us right now. I've got a few things on the table to show you too. The following Saturday on the 22nd, local author Renee Valois, Collecting Spirits. I hate to say this, the display went up yesterday. She brought us a baker's dozen of books. We already sold one, so just be warned, they're going. I also hate to say this too, but we sold out of our guest author's book. The person, Anthony Rella, will be here shortly for a beautiful interview. I'm so looking forward to it, but I can't show you the book that we ordered because it's sold. So come grab it when we've got it. Pre-order with us if you want. That's all good and groovy. Seekers class for Standing Stones is still going on. That is still a completely free event. It looks like they've changed up their schedule a little bit. So let's see, February 8th is going to be, I've got to follow these arrows, tools, and the craft. And then Ritual Basics on February 15th. And then they'll also be doing auras and shielding and energy manipulation and psychometry. So it'll be fun. And of course, I got to remind you about our lovely readers. You know you want one. The readers are great. So Sundays and Thursdays, Tracy is here all day, noon to 6, the whole time we're open. On Mondays, we have Paul doing dream interpretation. He's really good at it. It's sort of astounding the way people leave so enriched by their experience with him. Raven Wolf is doing readings from 3 to 6 on Tuesdays and today, Wednesdays, and noon to 2, sometimes later on Saturdays. Why sometimes later? He likes the Standing Stones class, so he nips in there. And of course, the wonderful Winter, who will be coming in for an interview soon too, is here on Fridays from 1 to 5. So come get your readers, come get those classes, all kinds of fun classes. A lot of the ones that you already know are happening, are definitely happening. But why am I rushing? Why do I want to get through it? Because I want to talk to Chris. Because Chris has brought us treasures, and Chris is responsible for the beautiful art. I'm going to tilt the camera, and you guys, I'm going to cut us off. Look at this. Look at that butterfly. Is that not amazing? Look at that. Is it a face? Is it two faces? What's going on? Love that painting. But I'm also going to show you. She's got little ones. And I'm going to show you one of the other little ones. This is a fantastic little sun moon, isn't it? Her art prices for the originals, not the prints, the originals start at $29.95. And even the really big ones, we're talking $129.95. They really are priced in a way that's friendly, not buy an original art piece, which we do that too, and I like those too. But this is definitely worker friendly. I love these art pieces. But in addition to that, you brought up a bunch of other things.
I did.
So I'm going to talk about the art first. What got you into art?
Boredom.
I hear that.
And now that I'm retired, I have time to do a lot more art.
Yes.
I love doing it. I find inspiration everywhere. I look at, a leaf on the ground and go, say, I can do something with that.
And we do have some of your original pieces out on the floor, but everything that's in here is brand new to us. It's gorgeous. And I've been watching you. We've sold Chris's art through the years, and I've watched your skill grow over that time.
Oh, thank you.
And it's just sort of amazing to see how much better the art gets every year, year after year. It's just amazing. But you also craft a lot of things.
I do.
So is this more of the, I saw a thing and I got inspired kind of world?
Yes, that too. You should see my craft. It's
got cute little beads on it. So if you use the fans for moving around smoke from, whether it's from sage, incense, Palo Santo, Mfefo, when we've got those bundles in, which is a delightful herb and highly recommend actually. Lavender, myrrh, frankincense. This will get that smoke going where you want it to go. And you just brought in a few new ones to us. So I just want to show them off. Look at these. And Chris here is the one responsible for the cute curly feathers. Those are all your fault.
They are my fault. And I'm not sorry. Not at all.
In addition to those, some of the prettiest wands that we sell ever.
Those are all driftwood from Sacred Waters. They come either from Lake Superior or Leech Lake.
Oh, beautiful.
Yep, and then I use the crystals and some metal to help the conductivity, and some of them have crystals on the end, like this one.
You pendulum with your wand. I like that.
Yes.
I like that.
Absolutely.
There's another one over here. I'm not sure yet. You have to go to the store to see it. This is also responsible for some of the reclaimed jewelry that we do, that we've offered, particularly the mirror jewelry is Chris's. There's other pieces, but the mirror jewelry is like the standout piece.
Yep.
And you brought us some new ones.
Oh boy.
Look at these pins.
They're
These
very sparkly.
yeah, they're so eye-catching. They're so pretty.
And mirrors are so important for protecting yourself.
Yeah. Now, I will say some of the mirror jewelry we sell, but for Chris is pins, some is necklaces. On most of them, the mirror faces out, which means you are repelling negative energy coming at you from other people.
Yep.
Sometimes the mirror is facing in, because sometimes you need to keep some things to yourself.
And most of them have a little decoration on the back, so it doesn't look like the back of a mirror.
Yes. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. I want to show you. Showed me this one earlier because we just traded out stuff and we just got new stuff in. So the back of this one has Paris on it. The Eiffel Tower is over on this side. So, oh, so pretty. You can wear it either way. You can decide. Do I want to repel negativity or do I want to keep my own positivity in for me today? Do I need this to be a me day?
Exactly.
The supersized abalone shells, all her fault. So if you need the really large ones, she hunts them up. Chris is also responsible for the beautiful boxes. Most of the beautiful, Angie Jara is also responsible for some of the boxes, but got a whole new set of these in. This one's cool because it's travel ready.
It is. It's also a little portable pencil box. So if you like to do your own art, that's a lovely place to keep it.
And I've got 3 others down here on a little cart. They're all lovely. And the prices kind of range depending on the size of the amount of work into them. So we've got ones that go for what, $35.95 and
$34.95, and I think some are even $24.95.
$25. Yeah, I think like this one.
Smaller.
Yeah. So beautiful work. So what else can you tell us about why you do all of these mad things?
I would get in trouble with it. Idle hands.
I see. Absolutely beautiful stuff. And now I hear you're singing.
Yes, I'm singing backup for my husband's band. Can I get a little?
Yeah, please do.
The Southern Express Band, if you like Skinner and ZZ Top and Charlie Daniels, you will love Southern Express. Southern Express Southern Express Band, MN.com.
Where will you be performing next?
Next is February 21st at Route 47 Public Grove.
Oh, very nice. Sounds like a fun time.
It's a party every time.
All right. Well, I think we should bring in our next guest. What do you think?
I think
Help the interview, Tony?
Sure.
Of course. So, adding to the stage, Anthony Rella.
Hello. Hi. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, good.
Yeah, we've had our fair share of tech problems with that this morning, but I am so glad you're with us.
Yeah, me too. Thanks for having me.
So, what got you inspired to write Slow Magic?
Oh, well, it gets a touch political.
We do that here. We like a little controversy.
Yeah. Well, a couple of years ago, it was the weekend that the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, and I was kind of listening to other stuff and just kind of having this thought about that movement had worked for years to overturn abortion, and in some ways, when it just seemed like a hopeless task for them, and I just thought like, that level of tenacity is kind of impressive, although I personally disagree with it. And I'm like, my side needs that level of kind of tenacity and just following through, and kind of this vibe of like, it'd be nice to make sure that we're really drawing on all of our resources to keep promoting what's important to us, what our values are. And I thought about times in my life, and we were just, coming through the COVID era, which in some ways we're still in, which we really tested a lot of that. And so it all just sort of, it was a moment when the idea suddenly happened, and then the outline came out, which is usually not how I write books, but I just thought, oh, I would love to write a book about that. And I had the title right away. And then I thought about like this and this and this. And so it just sort of kind of was a lightning bolt moment and just felt right. So that was exciting.
I like that that's a fast build for slow magic.
That's right. It's true. And it was a fast writing. It's ironic.
So tell me about the basics of the philosophy behind slow magic. What kind of advice are you extolling in this particular book?
That's a great question. So there's a few things, kind of one of the sort of main premise is about really like just, I think a lot of us are drawn to magic, or just in general in life, that we want quick results. I think it's very normal. And I'm also a therapist, so I know how much people want quick results and have been dealing with problems for years and just want it to be over with. And that's very human, totally understandable. But also I've experienced in my life sometimes when I'm trying to move too quickly, it actually creates all these other problems, because I'm moving too fast, or I'm creating other, I get injured because I'm trying to do something that's beyond my skill level, or I'm trying to do too much at once and it all kind of falls apart. And so for me, I've had to learn to kind of just really slow down and focus on the next task, but also keep the long-term goal in mind. Both are things that are very hard for me as an Aries. Those are my struggle points. And so that's kind of one of the through lines, is about how to be both thinking about what you want, but also really grounding it. And then the other piece is around working with something from my tradition that I learned. We call them the divine twins, and they're kind of I think of it as kind of Taoist in a way. They're the pairs of opposites that are intrinsic in all things, and sort of working with duality and kind of accepting the strengths of both, rather than kind of trying to fight and say this side of me is good and this side of me is bad. I'm really trying to honor both so that I can move through with all the powers available to me.
I think it's a good point. I can remember at one point in my training seeing an exercise where you were asked to write down all your personality traits that you could think of for about a week.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the idea, as you read through the instructions for the exercise, it became very clear that if you wrote impatient down, you might also write down decisive somewhere else.
Yes, yeah.
That that trait is neither good nor bad, it's a trait.
Right.
It's how you implement the trait and conscious decisions you make, rather than automated decisions that you make.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you slow down to do your magic, and correct me if I'm wrong, that's part of what's being employed. You're being more deliberative, and perhaps even layering magic on magic. If you're still working on a goal and it's going to take you a few years, and you hear about a stone that you've never heard of before but seems to fit, you start to incorporate that in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Adding on more power to what you're working on.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, exactly. And I use a metaphor a lot in the book that I think about as kind of like a current in a stream or in the ocean, that you're trying to find a current that aligns with where you want to go, so you don't have to work so hard. And when you're in that current, then it helps you to actually, I think, kind of attract or be more aware of this kind of stone, because I know what I want, so I'm more attentive to, this thing that I wasn't thinking about would be very helpful. And then it can become, they can help each other.
Exactly. Yeah, suddenly you find allies in places you never thought to look before, just because you tuned yourself to be open to those possibilities. I think especially when you're looking for a goal, people, for example, love to do love magic. And there's always that pause of, well, let's not manipulate the other person, because then you're saying you want a world in which you can be manipulated. At least that's my take on it. But rather than saying, I want that person to fall in love with me, let's say I'm going to be open to new relationship possibilities. And suddenly you meet someone in a place you would never have thought to have met them. And now you've done magic that's effective.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, with that lesson, you know, there's some, you know, it's also in the book as well, being too attached to the specifics. I mean, this is a very, you know, important teaching a lot of magical traditions talk about, is when you decide, like, this is the person, you might actually, that might actually not be the person. You've kind of seen one thing you like about them, and then you're fighting the current to try to hold on to this person who may not actually be right for you or good for you, and not being open to so it's like a big part of the book, the work of the book, of slowing down, is to kind of start at this level of I want that person, and then to do the reflection of, like, well, why that person? Like, what am I seeing about them that I like? You know, is there something about how I am with them that I think is exciting? And so could I be actually doing magic to be more like that kind of person, and kind of to detach it from this specific relationship, you know, stuff like that.
No, I think it's a good point. And I also think conversely, if your mindset is slow magic, you're also giving yourself permission for, but I lit a candle on Monday and nothing happened. No.
Yeah.
Because that's not how it works.
Yes. Yeah, give yourself a little bit more room.
Yeah, you get to grow, I think. Good magic, I think you end up growing from.
Yes, absolutely.
You learn more about who you are, you get to figure out more of what you want out of life. And it really does come down to that person who does do that magic spell to get that one job, and then they get that one job, and it turns out they hate the work culture. They hate the environment. They can't wait to leave. Whereas if it had been focused more broadly on the type of job and the kind of people you want to be with, the environment you want to be in, you're going to get a better result. It might take a few weeks of work.
Right.
You're going to maybe go on more interviews, but you end up in a better place. It's better magic.
Right. And you might not be sort of desperately clutching to the first job that gets offered to you, because you're like, well, I did the spell and this seems good enough, but it doesn't feel right. And and I think your point about transformation is a big part of the work too. And just, I don't know, it's scarier, but it makes life more interesting. You know, if I just kind of know how I want the rest of my life to unfold, and it just kind of goes A to B to C, then it kind of starts to become kind of empty. And also I may not actually, like, I think I know what I want, but it may not be what I really want. So I really like sort of opening up to more of that mystery, more just, yeah, like I want to have this kind of experience, and I'm really curious how it could happen, and being open to whatever results come through.
Sounds like you're going to be encouraging all of us to pay attention to the journey at least as much as the goal.
Yeah. As hard as that is, and I really empathize with that, it's very humbling, and but I think, you know, there's that I think about that line from the Star Goddess prayer that Doreen Valiente wrote, and then Starhawk did a version of, about being that which is attained at the end of desire. And so I kind of think, I mean, it's an interesting line, and it could mean a lot of things, but it's sort of, if I move towards the end of desire, like, the attainment is actually the experience itself, or what the journey came manifested for me. It's not the end of desire, and there is in some ways no end to desire, because we're in these human bodies, and you have a meal and then you get hungry later, so you have to get a new meal.
Yeah, there's always, what's the next thing? Where's the next mountain I want to climb? I think for most people, most of the time, even I think you would attest to that in retirement. Yes, you climbed that mountain. Congratulations, you got to retire. That's wonderful. Now what do you paintings, lots and lots of paintings. There's a new goal.
Yeah. Yeah, and look what cool stuff has come out of that. I really appreciated your work and all the art, and just it sounds like the journey you're on. It's very cool, and it's inspiring to be like, yeah, you don't have to be done just because you're done with one part of your life. You don't have to be done growing and creating.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that embrace. So what led you to start writing just generally? What got you to the place where you would be writing a book like this?
Well, I think like many, I was as a child, I just really liked books. They were kind of my refuge and my escape, and I had a very rich imagination life, and so I really loved books, and they were very comforting to me and inspiring, and something in me thought it'd be cool to someday write something like that or become a writer, to participate in that. And then, of course, as I've gotten older and kind of see what the writing life is like, that desire has changed and mutated and grown. But it feels like, I moved away from more fiction writing, although sometimes I'd like to do more of that. But I think being a therapist and being in a spiritual community where I sometimes teach and mentor some students, really, there's a big part of me that's also a teacher and really aligns with being a teacher and trying to make things, make complex topics accessible and comprehensible, and meeting people where they're at while also encouraging them to keep going and keep going deeper. So, and also there's a part of me that just likes talking about myself a lot. So writing nonfiction gives me this reason to talk about myself and also be a teacher and also, really engage. Part of what I loved about writing this book was it made me think about my practice in a deeper way. Like there are things I was kind of doing or I knew I wanted to say, but as I was trying to articulate it, it just kind of clarified and refined things, and now it's almost made my practice richer because as people say, you teach what you need to learn, and when you're teaching somebody else something, you start to realize, oh, that is why we do that, or that, yeah, I kind of thought that was dumb too, but actually it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, or realizing those things that make sense in the short term that are the ones that are kind of messing up your life a little bit. And if we just tweak what you're doing short term, we get
right.
healthier results for everybody. No, that sounds fascinating. So if you don't mind my asking, not that it's what you're here to talk about, but what type of therapy do you do?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I do mental health therapy. I work in private practice, and I focus on something called internal family systems therapy, which actually I do include in the book a little bit because it's become such a part of the way I think. But and I work a lot with adults, individuals, mostly men, and LGBTQIA plus people in general.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So I imagine your approach then is a little more inclusive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I try to, I try to be, I think at heart, we're all human and we have similar ways of dealing with the world. And then there's also the ways we're different, and both are important. It's a pretty vague statement, but but like what I'm curious about is to get to like, if something doesn't make sense to me, then I really want to explore it until I get it. And if I really sit with somebody long enough, then it's like, oh, I get it. You're trying to do something very similar to what I'm trying to do. And it goes back to what you're talking about strengths and different, the dualities, just that, some person might be more combative than I am, but they might be trying to meet the same goal. They just have a different strategy.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting to discover what life has taught us and why we get to those places where we get to. Why was that the adaptive behavior for a period in our lives?
Yeah.
It's not adaptive today.
Yeah. But to appreciate that, like, yeah, I didn't just do that just to make my life worse. It actually made sense at one point. And I'm glad it did. And now I get to try to have multiple tools instead of just the one.
Oh, I like that. I like that. So I imagine it's also a part of how you approach your writing and how you teach.
Yeah, yeah. Especially, yeah. I try to, what I really feel called towards. I think every writer, every teacher has their own focus, and they're all important. And for me, I find that I'm really drawn to the spiritual writings that really try to bring your spiritual teachings into making your life, making it work. Like I just, this world is hard, life is hard. We have these resources just to kind of make sense of what's happening and to make life easier, uh, or at least more effective. And I just like to bring it into something that's practical while also staying connected to the bigger mysteries.
Yeah, I think that I hate to say it, but I'm flashing back to the West Wing. It's and I'm paraphrasing. It's an adult's job to put their kid through college, and that should be hard.
Hmm.
But maybe it should be just a little easier than it is.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds right.
Yeah. And I like that. And that whole idea that that's what the collective us, that's part of what that's for. That's why we gather in covens
Yeah.
and tribes and states and countries and towns, is so that we
Right.
have a collective pool to
Right,
help each other out when we need
right,
help.
right. Yeah, we're drawn to connect with each other and help each other.
Yeah.
As much
And
as
that seems to be human.
it is human, it's so human, and and then it's also human for stuff to get in the way of that and to feel afraid or competitive. But I think at heart, like, we just want this belonging and mutual support and to make life easier on each other.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one of the big reasons that covens and groves and temples exist, is to provide us with, yes, a little challenge, be a better
Mhm,
person, but I
mhm,
think it should also be about joy. My
yeah,
attitude tends to be, if you're not getting joy out of your religion on a pretty frequent and regular basis, leave it. It's not your religion. Go somewhere
yeah.
else.
I think so. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah. Even the religions that say, life is suffering, like it's kind of their avenue towards joy. So like,
Yes, exactly.
ideally.
Enjoy misery.
And I'm not going to kink shame. Not at all.
That's true.
I love it. So let's see. Have you done other books with Llewellyn Publishing?
No, this is my first with Llewellyn. I've published a couple books with a much smaller press, but this is kind of feels like a step into more visibility, which is an interesting experience.
I bet. I bet. Have you done many promotional things yet?
This is actually my first real promotion. Yeah, so thank you for that. And yeah, got a couple
I know
of,
Marcus over at Llewellyn, who used to work here actually, was
oh,
very
nice.
happy to set it up.
Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah, yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I have a couple of, I think, podcasts coming up and things like that. So it'll be fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very cool. What podcast are you going to be on after this?
Oh gosh. There's another bookstore in LA we're going to do a live in a couple of weeks. Then, oh, you caught me. I think.
That's okay. I just know they're coming up. That's all.
Yeah, they're coming up. Yeah.
Let people hunt.
Oh. Sorry, we had a freeze.
There he is.
Oh, we're back. We're back.
Oh, good. I just kept making noise. Just in case anybody could hear us.
That's
So no, it's exciting that you've got so much coming up, and I want people to be able to see you in other interviews if that's possible.
cool. Yeah, and I'm coming to I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. Paganicon.
Paganicon, yes.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. That'll be fun. Yeah.
That will be very cool. It will be good to see you there. And that's always a big event here in the Twin Cities. So
Mention when that is.
I don't remember when it is. I wish I remembered when it is, but I don't remember. It's in the spring.
It's in March.
Yeah.
It's in March.
March, I believe you. It's
Yeah.
in March. Everybody should go buy tickets. So, oh, this has been a wonderful talk. I'm just trying to think if I have any other wonderful questions for you.
I do have a copy of the book since you didn't have one to show. It's very pretty. Yeah. I
Yes.
really, it's exciting. The roses kind of are shiny.
Yeah, on a black mat surface. I like that. Yeah, it is a beautiful cover. They did a very nice job with your book. I really
Yeah, I
liked
love
it.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was beautiful when it came in, and apparently then it went out. So I order every week from Llewellyn, so we'll have it in shortly, but.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Is it available in electronic version also?
I don't know. I don't think there's an electronic version right now. I think it's just print right now.
It's okay. They'll come in, they'll get their copy, it will be fun.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And
I think
we'll get everybody,
if enough people buy it, then there will probably be an electronic come out.
at some point it'll go out on Kindle, I'm sure, but yeah, I agree with you. I like an actual physical book. I just think they're fun.
Mhm.
Also, it's very hard for me to make permanent notes in a Kindle book.
That's the truth.
Mhm.
And I will write a practical book.
Right. I sometimes will read the book on my phone, but I appreciate that a paper book won't interrupt me with text messages and
Yes.
can focus
Yeah,
a bit
yeah.
more.
I have to admit, I've delved into the Gutenberg Project library at the beach, letting my kids swim. Uh, And that has been fun because I'm not bringing a real book to the beach. It's just not happening. I know people do, but I'm not subjecting my books to sand.
Yeah.
I like them too much to do that to them. I'm sorry. But everybody who watches this later, everyone who's listening now, I've got notes in the comment section for you guys about Slow Magic and about the art show that's coming up. Everybody should come down and grab their copy of Slow Magic because it's fabulous. I did not read it cover to cover. I will freely admit this. It was a store copy. I couldn't do that. But I absolutely did dive in and loved everything I read. So, and I don't do that with most of the books. So I appreciate you writing it to begin with. I think that's fabulous that you've gotten to that point where you're like, yep, got to write these books. And I think it's a great juxtaposition against the more rapid fire expectations that some folks have. I know in my practice as an herbalist that comes up too. Is like, can't you just make a pill that will make it go away? No.
Yeah.
No,
If I could, I'd be really rich right now.
yeah, if I could do that, yeah, that would be amazing. But no, it's always and this herb in your formula is your best friend. And whenever you're stressed out, you're going to remember this conversation. And you're going to buy more of this herb. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you will be friends with this herb for life. Sorry.
Instant gratification is rarely appreciated for long.
Well, and it's also, the price on it is often a little higher than you think it's going to be. It's instant gratification. Whereas if you work your way slowly to it, you really have a good grasp of what you're getting before you get there.
Yep.
And I just think you make a much better decision the whole way through as you layer things on. But I also am happy to plod my way through, even though I'm a Gemini, with a lot of Gemini in my chart. I mean, a lot. Sun and moon are conjunct. What you see really is what you get. You would think I would want rapid fire. No, I'm happy floating, watching the currents, seeing where they're going, making my choices. So I really, really appreciate this book a lot. And I hope everybody out there comes and gets a copy. I don't care where you are. Patronize your local shop, go to us online, come into the store, pick up Slow Magic, and some art, and some feathers, and some jewelry, and some boxes to keep your jewelry.
Keep your altar items in.
Yes, that works too.
Get the
But we're getting very close to the end of our broadcast here because I've got a hard close coming up very soon. And I did want to give people a secret word, and I think the secret word should be Slow Magic. So for our customers who see this, I will be leaving a note for the staff because, as you all know, I work from home after this for the rest of the week. I don't stop working. I wish I could say that. No, I keep working. Slow Magic will be what they look for a 15% discount on your purchase, not included with any other discounts. Ting. Okay. Thank you so much, Tony. This was a really wonderful chat. I so appreciate your time.
Thank you. It's
And
great to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
It was wonderful. Come check out her art.
Thanks for having me.
This was wonderful. I love it when we have lots of guests. All right. Everybody else out there, blessed be, and have a wonderful, wonderful week. We'll see you soon.